adventurer. Unsurexed loyalists seek vengeance. Join the Flames Radiance in defending Hallowfall.
Hello everyone! Upon entering Azeroth in patch 11.1.5, Milton Wildbrown sends out a call to any and all able and willing to fight with the Flames Radiance and hold back the Sureki forces. Turns out that the battle of the light-wielding Arathi against the Nerubians is far from over, but their forces are spread a lot more thin now that they've reconnected to the Urvan to the surface up above. So it is that they've called in the decree of Flames Radiance. The Flames Radiance dates back to an old legend from back home for the Arathi. They say that when our glorious Empress marched her armies off the war, she left the people of the Empire unguarded. Enemies within our borders began to rise because of it. But it wasn't the military or the Empire that saved us in the end. It was the war veterans, the retired soldiers, those who took up their extinguished torches, donned their battered armor, and rallied the villagers, farmers, and craftsmen. It was the people who held back the darkness until the light of the Empire returns. Upon a return, they say the Empress knighted those responsible for rallying the citizens of the Empire. She decreed the Flames Radiance a sacred oath that all Arathi should adhere to. Should the light of the Empire fade, burn out, or vanish, it's the people's duty to rally each other. By the radiance of the sacred flame, they will extinguish the darkness. My mind shoots to playing Warcraft 3 and rallying the peasants to defend your town, and it gives a few more puzzle pieces on what life amongst the Arathi Empire would be. Currently, they follow the visions of their great emperor, the man with the magical bloodline who uses its prophetic visions to guide fates, which is what landed him here in Hallowfall to begin with. But it turns out that they've also had an empress. And just like how the cultists rose up within the ranks of the Arathi in Hallowfall, so too did the Empire have enemies from within. They are our allies now, but is that going to stand if the Emperor tells them to turn against us? Some already prepare for the possibility of war, while many simply want to return home. And who can blame them after being stuck here for so very long? Then our foes, the darkness that we fight against, the Sureki. Remnants of unsurexed loyalists still willing to put up a fight. The start of the war within, it saw the Nerubians closely allied to Xal'atath, who was whispering to the Queen Unsurek, pushing her to betray her own mother and embrace the next evolution for their race through the use of the black blood, the blood of the old gods. But not everyone was down with this new path, giving us an allegiance with the Weaver, the General, and the Vizier, allowing us to learn more about Nerubian culture, uncovering the daughter's betrayal and her life within Nerubar's palace, find the corrupted former queen, and even stop Xal'atath from empowering herself further with the black blood. But the question is, then what? That's where we left Azj-Kahet behind, and the story has been somewhat frozen in time. There were some additional quests unlocked after getting more reputation. Quests which had us join the general and overthrow his replacements at the cost of his own life. But gameplay-wise, we've still been going in weekly to earn a reputation, without seeing any major developments within Nerubian society. They seemingly have always been ruled by royalty, by a queen, and now that strand has been severed. Has the Weaver and the Vizier taken over the role of leadership? Is that acceptable for the Nerubians, or are they busy trying to reinstate the former corrupted queen? Is there perhaps an X somewhere with a future queen that could take up? There is a speculative potential of finding an old severed strand with knowledge and skills of Nerubian royalty of the past, but again, that hasn't played out at all. Azj-Kahet has been somewhat frozen in time as we dealt with the Siren Isle and the events within Undermine. Now they're back into the story, with seemingly enough forces still loyal to their fallen queen to put up a real fight for the Arathi. Are they even aware that the queen has been slain, or are they following the last whispers left behind? It's hard to say. What we can say for certain is that the Arathi need our help, as we're asked to join them during the Nightfall attacks. If and when they get this scenario working, enemies are going to be slain within Hallowfall under the light or dark radiance of Beladar.
Hold the line!
Keep your strikes decisive and your aim true. May the flame guide you!
At the top of the screen, we can see a familiar reward bar, which fills up from green to blue to epic, depending on how many activities you manage to do. Little reward sacks, while after fighting for long enough, the Sureki champion appears. We slay them, we save the day, and the major Nightfall event is complete.
Victory for the Flames Radiance! Take a moment for celebration, but stay on your guard. They'll return soon enough.
Next to that, there are also daily quests, either Radiant incursions, offensively going after the Sureki, or Sureki incursions, which has us defend against them. The incursions themselves are a variation of click and kill, and it does confirm that we're still communicating and working together with our Nerubian allies, as they provide us with intel on Sureki movements. Sometimes they're busy gathering toxins, sometimes they're simply on the assault. Sometimes the Arathi need us to test their super duper powerful elixirs, which increases our might massively. It's quite a change from the way that the Arathi have been living so far. Being pulled into Azj-Kahet, taking on Nerubians on their home turf, used to be a death sentence. Many soldiers and lamplighters have been lost in the graveyard that they call Arathi's End, but times have certainly changed, and now we're able to hold our own. Then, some of the characters that show up are kinda interesting. We have, for example, Auralia Steelstrike, daughter of General Steelstrike. Her mother is doing what she always does, leaping into the fray. After convincing her to declare Flames Radiance, the general entrusted Mereldar's defenses to her daughter, while she herself organized a regiment to secure their town stats to the north. The Sureki have been spotted in large numbers all around Hollowfall, and we cannot allow a single corner of their home to remain undefended. Lamplighter Kirter and the Irvin, now Lamplighter Life, are also still hanging out together. We saw them meet up during a side quest up above, where the Irvin was very intrigued in the Arathi's faith. Their faith, their tenets, reminded him somewhat of the Irvin's edicts, but Kirter, it was not a requirement, it was a choice, choosing to live their life and helping others, following the will of the sacred flame, even when darkness was spreading and his former friend turned out to be a cultist. It took a little bit, but Peacekeeper Life was able to earn his trust again and even joined the ranks of the Arathi. We also got Prioress Etna Blaze. She was the one who guided us into helping Sebastian mourn his brother, and eventually uncovered that Prioress Hilsey Murpray has been taking the bodies of the fallen Arathi and resurrect them in the light, within the priory of the Sacred Flame. That's the reason why we went into the dungeon, and now Etna stands with the Flames Radiance, and lets us know that after Murpray and her loyalists were extinguished from the priory, those who remained sought to rekindle their flame with Hallowfall. Many devout looked to me to fulfill the duties of Prioress. I was never interested in such a role. I am but a humble servant to the Sacred Flame, but my brothers and sisters needed someone to remake what was lost during that dark time. For now, I am who they need me to be. With the Flames Radiance decreed, the Priory has offered its full strength to the cause, whether by blade or by faith. We are here to fight. And then there is Meredith Leckie, who played a big part in Farron Lofar's short story called Little Spark. This one is published in the Voices Within short story collection. And in short, the story comes down to a time in which Farron wasn't even part of the Lamplighters yet. The Nerubians are still a massive threat. This is the time that I was talking about where even considering going into the Nerubian lands would be a suicide mission. During one of the attacks, some of the people are taken away, including Raiten, despite Raiten already calling for the retreat and Farron not listening. They have been taken, but not confirmed to be dead quite yet. So Farron goes after them, with Meredith joining in. At first, Meredith is very much all about the rules and deadly afraid of the dark, but we shine brightest when we're together. Her adventures with Farron reignites the holy flame within, and while Raiten Blackholmes isn't found, that's why we got a side quest to find his breastplate, give him a proper funeral. Both of them did completely change their lives, and they joined Great Chiron as Lamplighters of the Arathi. Now, there are more no-named characters to show up, but these were the ones that really stood out for me. And why do we help? What's in it for us? Sweet rewards, of course. 10 levels of renown with the Flames Radiance can be earned, which unlocks the usual toys, pets, mounts, titles, and improvements to our Flame Radiance buff. This starts out with dealing damage while in Kesogar and also taking less damage, its effects improving over time. There's also bits of champion level gear that can be picked up. A good way to gear up ults, especially in combination with the leveling buff that's going on. But do keep in mind, next month we're gonna get the visions, they're gonna return. They will be dropping higher gear as well. So again, it's a good way to get some ults ready. All in all, like the Siren Isle, this for me is an in-between patch, right? A catch-up patch, which hopefully is gonna work by the time that this video goes live, as currently the Nightfall event is bugged out. Beyond that, I also hope that we're gonna get an update on the situation within Azj-Kahet at some point. There's also this speculated return to Azj-Kahet and beyond. As in the background, we've been getting information from the archives on Azeroth's world soul that is apparently encased by the Titans. According to them, it was to save her from the old god's corruption, but we've also seen that Azeroth really wants to break free. That is why she influenced Irvin, turned them into Traegar, crystallized like Magni was, and have the Irvin turn against their creators, try to destroy her prison. Something that the Titans and the Keepers didn't like, which is why they had this whole cycle, these edicts, the plan of the Titans to follow. But beyond that, we can also see the Irvins play out about Traegar of the past that hear the voice of Azeroth, just as we do right now, and they're being called down below, lower than we have been so far. Lower than what these Irvin of the past were able to do, as in the play, they constantly get wiped out by the Nerubians. Now that we've made friends there, could we find a path further down the coreway, further down below, to where Azeroth might be? Time is going to tell. But for now, you're up to speed on the story of patch 11.1.5. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one. And until next time, see ya!